Hey there, welcome to WMBF News This Week. I'm your host, Michael Maley. Happy holidays. Today we've got a very serious topic that we hope can potentially save a life. And we're talking with the victim of a DUI, specifically Vicki Miller. Her husband was killed by a drunk driver. Vicki, thanks for your time today coming in. We're talking with Mayor Rhodes, of course, Myrtle Beach, taking a very active stance to get those DUI offenders off the roads. Thanks for coming in as well. Mike. And Charlie Moore with Diamond Cab Company. We're appreciating your time. You're talking about a program that people can use to get a free ride home if they're impaired. We're appreciating your time as well, too.
Thank you.
Vicki, let's start with you. And, you know, when we talk about DUIs, sadly, many people don't see the true devastation, the reality of what it is to lose someone to DUI. We've talked with you on camera, and coming up in the next block, we're going to share an investigative segment talking with you, talking about your husband, and also what Myrtle Beach Police and other authorities have done to try to curb DUIs. But Vicki, put into perspective for us how difficult it is, I can imagine, every day to know that your husband isn't here because of a drunk driver.
It's beyond description to people that have not experienced it. It changes everything about your life every day, and my daughter's life. The worst part, I think, for my daughter and I, and it's not considered a violent crime in this state for some reason, but we were never allowed to see Bill's body because it was so devastated from the crash that we were never allowed to say goodbye. And that haunts me to this day, and it's been 12 years. And I don't think anybody would want that for a loved one, to have to wonder what went through their mind at the last few minutes, what they suffered. I just can't imagine that anyone would take a chance on doing that to a family. It's beyond my comprehension.
Yeah. And we appreciate your strength in talking about this. I know in talking to you over the past year or so, it's been very difficult, of course, but your goal is to educate the public, to remind them the seriousness of drinking and driving.
Sure.
And we hope to do that. At the bottom of your screen, you can see scrolling the Safe Ride Taxi for Impaired Drivers. Diamond Cab is teaming up with Better Brands and Giannis Corporation to offer a free ride through February 7th, I believe.
Yes, sir.
For anyone who's impaired, who's out at the bar having a good time. You don't want them to get behind the wheel, so they can call that number, 448-8888, to get a free ride from any bar. The driver will grab your keys, take you home, and drop you off. And Charlie, talk about the importance of this program.
Well, we started this at Diamond Cab 8 years ago. Generally, we are very community-based. Most of our clients, everything is within the community, our drivers within the community. It was something we wanted to do to take people off the road. It also makes it safe for our drivers at night and their families. One of the big things was, after 6 years, we got sponsorship, which really has helped us expand it a lot more, get the word out there a lot more. It makes no logical sense to me. When we're saying we're going to give you a free ride, there should be nobody on the road drunk driving if I'm giving you a free ride home. And you know, really and truly, the fact that Giannis and Better Brands stood up and said, we're going to support this 100%. They're paying the whole bill, and it's running through February 7th. There is no excuse for anyone. I especially reach out to these college kids. A lot of college kids, they think they're Superman, you know, nothing can hurt them. You may not hurt yourself, but what happens when you kill somebody else's family?
Right.
Think about it. 100% free. Don't take no chances.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty compelling argument. And Mayor Rhodes, of course, we were talking about the city's stance on DUIs and getting DUI offenders off the roads. There's some statistics that show, in fact, the enforcement is increasing. So while DUI numbers may be up in 2009 over the past, this is a good thing by some perspectives because it's showing the effort. Would you agree?
Well, Mike, first of all, Charlie, you know, would commend you and Diamond Cab for doing this. Of course, that was started years ago on Sober Ride,
yes, sir,
and by Curtis Frederick, but for you to take it and go forward with this is exceptional, and to get the support of the companies that sell alcohol, not just Better Brands and not just Giannis, but how about the wine companies? How about the liquor companies? They should get involved and help and support this too. Vicki, I cannot imagine, you know, the loss. I cannot imagine the devastation in your family from this loss. And so from a city standpoint, we are doing everything we can to get DUIs off the road, and by creating the checkpoints that we do at various times of the year. And in 2007, we were arrested 326 DUI cases, and here in 2009, it's 478. That's an increase of 43% since 2007 in DUIs, which just last year alone is between 2008 and 2009 was an increase of 39%. That shows that what we're doing is very effective. You know, let me ask you this real quick, Charlie. You mentioned bars.
Yes, sir.
How about at a private party, at a Christmas party at someone's house? They need to be able to have that option also, so that they can call, you know, to have a safe ride to come and pick them up. And it's, as you say, it's a no-charge deal to take you home, give you the keys back. It's very important that people understand they're not invincible. And when you have a few drinks, I guess sometimes you think you are invincible, that you can drive better with alcohol than you can sober, and that just doesn't work. And I'm not here trying to be a hypocrite, because yeah, I have had a drink or two and driven, and I do not do that. I do not do that at all anymore. Matter of fact, when I go to events, you know, I'm drinking Coca-Cola or ginger ale or something, and I don't want anybody to think that here's a prima donna that's the mayor that hasn't driven while he's had a couple of drinks, because I have. And if I go somewhere today and I want to have a drink at a reception, I'm going to get somebody to drive me home. Right. I just will not do it. I've seen too many things that have happened to friends of mine, and we just have to get a grip on it.
All right, and Charlie, not to put you on the spot, but is it an option if there is a party and someone's too impaired?
We are doing that also. And I had a discussion with someone from the police department about this, and they asked, would you do house parties? And I called Mike Gray from Humanis and asked him, and he said, certainly. We want to cover everybody. Right. And especially when you consider young people are more apt to be at a house party or something of that nature. Right. So yeah, we definitely wanted to cover that.
Okay. We're going to talk about this campaign, this program. Also, we did an investigation into how serious DUI fatalities. South Carolina, the second highest in the country, according to recent data for DUI fatalities. When we come back, we're going to show you that. Also want to tell you right now, WMBF News is also partnering with Better Brands. There it is. Click it to Cabot. If you go on your mobile phone, download our WMBF News application, and if you click sports, you can see that Click it to Cabot. When you click that, you're going to get a list of all the phone numbers for your taxis. You can call them by just clicking on it from your phone. Bookmark that spot on your phone before you go out, before you celebrate, so it's ready to go. Just ways that WMBF News and Better Brands are helping you out, as well as the Giannis Corporation helping Better Brands on the other program, the Safe Ride program. When we come back, a close look at the investigation of the problem of DUI fatalities in South Carolina. Stay close.
Mix this with this.
We're holding a vehicle sobriety checkpoint.
And if you're lucky,
Had anything to drink tonight?
you'll end up like this. Jailed before you could kill yourself or someone else.
They had told me that Bill had been hit and killed by a drunk driver. You cannot imagine the denial, I guess.
Vicki Miller wears her husband's wedding ring and his gift of a cross on her heart.
I never take it off.
She's had it there since an impaired driver drove into him at 3 o'clock in the afternoon 11 years ago this month.
I just slid to the floor, and I stayed on the floor for about a year.
Miller says her raw devastation turned to anger, which drove her to research the gravity of alcohol-related traffic deaths.
Every year, we are killing 5 times the number of people that died on 9/11.
Miller has been working with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and Grand Strand authorities to combat the problem. But according to National Highway Traffic Safety Administration data, her efforts,
You know why I'm stopping you?
and the efforts of police are up against fierce competition. 1 out of every 3 fatal accidents are alcohol-related across the country in 2008. But when you look at the data for South Carolina, that figure almost doubles, with nearly 2 out of every 4 fatal accidents alcohol-related. And that deadly percentage makes the Palmetto State the second worst for DUI deaths in the country, with 403 people killed last year.
You're having to go knock on the door of a loved one and say, I'm sorry, but your wife or husband or daughter or son or whoever has, been killed in a motor vehicle collision. And that's very hard. It's something that you never lose. It stays with you forever.
The overwhelming question of why the problem is so great in the Palmetto State seems to only bring more questions.
I wish I knew the answer. If anybody has any ideas, I'd like to know how to solve it. We try to do our best with education, deterrence, and enforcement.
I would love to know, because if we knew why, then we would know possibly how to fix it.
We brought in a panel of state experts for answers. Teresa Van Vleck is Traffic Safety Resource Prosecutor, Colonel Kenny Lancaster is commander of the more than 800 Highway Patrol officers, and Phil Riley is the Highway Safety Director. So what makes South Carolina so different?
We're the only state that allows law enforcement to prosecute their own cases. They have the challenge of not only doing the DUI enforcement, but then again taking that case all the way to the court and trying these cases against defense attorneys.
Our biggest problem is what happens with underage. Someone has to die before we react. And what we're trying to do is get ahead of that. We don't want anybody to die before we get you the message or we educate you and tell you what's going to kill you if you continue to do it.
We do know that South Carolina per capita drank more than those in Georgia or North Carolina last year, even more than those in California, a state with 9 times our population. We also know that our neighboring states have drastically reduced their DUI-related traffic deaths since the 80s, while our rates have remained mostly flat.
See your license, registration, proof of insurance, please.
However, authorities began enforcing a new, more strict DUI law in February, and already state and local patrols have made 22,000 DUI arrests this year. That's up 2,000 for all of last year. State investigators say, like any new law, this one will take time.
In 2005, our seatbelt usage rate was 69.7%. It now stands at 81.5%, but it's taken 4 years to make that gain. So likewise, I think it's going to take a little bit of time to see gains with this law, but we will see gains. We're certain of that.
The speed limit's 15 on this road. He's going 25.
Conway Senior Master Patrol Officer Josh Scott is also on a mission to save lives.
I take pride in getting DUIs off the roadways because in my opinion, I'm saving somebody's life by getting somebody off the roadway who's impaired.
He's got dozens of DUI arrests just this year.
Had anything to drink tonight? Nothing at all? Not even one?
19-year-old Michael Robinson won't get a DUI. He passes the field sobriety test, but he has broken the law.
I ain't gonna write a ticket for minor possession by consumption. So it'll be a little less than 4?
It could have been a lot worse. Say you might have had a couple more, you get behind the wheel, someone ends up dead. Does that register to you, or do you think, man, it's just not going to happen to me?
It registers, but then again, since because it hasn't happened, or it happened to someone close to me, it's not quite registering, but for the most part it does. But the part about, someone dying, I just can't fathom that.
We had an officer behind you said that you was all over the roadway.
The driver in this SUV would admit she's got good reason to think more about it too. 21-year-old Ashley Beard admits to having 1 drink within the hour. She would pass the field sobriety test, but she says her friends never had the chance.
I have 2 friends in high school got killed by drunk drivers.
If she could talk to you, communicate with you,
she'd probably want to kick my butt, being honest, for having 1. But I know when it's too much. More than 1 is too much.
There's too many options not to do this. Free cabs all the time around here. There's no excuse for doing this.
Besides a designated driver, Miller says a primary deterrent is already there.
If the judges start using the sentences we have in place and make it the max, you kill somebody, this is what you're going to get. Everybody out there that's a drunk and that drives is going to look at that and say, well, I got to think about this twice.
If they enforce and use their discretion and use the higher end of the penalty, then the word will get out.
25 years is the maximum penalty for killing someone while driving under the influence. The woman who drove head-on into Bill Miller,
sentenced to 7. She was out in 5 years and 8 months. They only have to serve 85% of the sentence.
Nobody ever really knows what would happen after we make calls because we get them off the roadway.
But this ride-along with Myrtle Beach Police Investigator Joe West shows what does happen. Police say the man doing the field sobriety test failed to yield to the taxi driver, striking that vehicle. After a combination of tests and his inability to keep his balance,
we have to arrest them, we have to tow their vehicle, and they will spend the night in jail.
And the need for overall awareness never more vivid for me. This is what happened to my car while on the way home just around 4:30 in the morning, minutes after our interview with Myrtle Beach Police for this story. Another driver ticketed for failing to yield the right-of-way. He had darted across the bypass. I had no time to react. The driver told me he'd just left a bar, told police he didn't remember what happened. No tickets for DUI, no hard proof he was impaired, but more important, no serious injuries. We'd both get another chance.
His laugh just resonated through people.
Vicki Miller never thought her husband would need a second chance, but she knows other people do. And she knows she'll do all she can for anyone, anytime, to explain why.
I don't want Bill's death to not mean anything.
And Vicki Miller joins us here along with Mayor Rhodes of Myrtle Beach and Charlie Moore with Diamond Cab. Vicki, you said you don't want Bill's death to mean nothing. I had a crash. Someone drove across from me. I was lucky. That was minor. You lost your husband. Today, being here right now, as we scroll the number for people to call, it's a free ride home, as you said, a free taxi ride home thanks to Diamond Cab Company. How do you say it more than what you've already said for people out there watching who say, I can get behind the wheel?
I just want to thank this gentleman and his company for doing this. There is really no excuse at this point.
No.
With the free rides, there is no excuse for anyone to take the chance to devastate a family like ours was devastated. And it's just, with all my heart, I hope that people pay attention when they're out or before you go out. Assign a friend to be your designated driver that night. MAD is not about not drinking. It's legal if you're 21 in this state to drink. It's when you get behind the wheel of a 5,000-pound weapon and take the chance of killing yourself, but most likely someone else or a whole family. I have victims that I've worked with that they've lost their whole families in one stupid decision because of one irresponsible decision when there are so many alternatives. That's my prayer, that people pay attention.
We hope that they're listening to that for sure today. You know, we saw in that piece Sergeant John Bertang and Myrtle Beach Police obviously working hard. I know Sergeant John Bertang works with the 15th District Circuit to curb DUIs. They've had a lot of checkpoints. The point that you brought up is very interesting, that the DUI arrests are up in Myrtle Beach, some 39% from 08 to 09, really says that you guys are working to curb this problem.
We are, and I know that, you know, there are people that become disenchanted because of our checkpoints, but they don't understand the results of the checkpoints are positive, that the results are saving lives, the results. And not only are we talking about a DUI, it means driving under the influence. And it doesn't necessarily have to be alcohol. It can be some other drug-related substance.
That's true.
So we're accomplishing more than just one thing. We are getting someone that is driving under the influence off the road before someone gets hurt or gets killed.
I want to talk more about the efforts of Myrtle Beach as well as Charlie, your company, as we come back. I want to remind you, though, in addition to the Safe Ride program number that you see at the bottom of your screen, Click It's a Cabot is pretty easy to get. That's something we partnered up with Better Brands on. Put this in on your phone, download the application for your phone. Click It's a Cabot link will give you all of the area taxi cab numbers. You can hit the button on your phone. It'll call them immediately to get a ride back home. We want to keep you safe this holiday season. Stay close. Welcome back to WMBF News This Week. We are talking about curbing DUIs, and specifically during the holiday season and all through February, one program that can help you do that with a free cab ride home. Charlie Moore of Diamond Cab is working with Better Brands and the Giannis Company to give people a free ride. It's really as simple as that. We've got the number at the bottom of your screen. Talk about how it works.
All you have to do is, if you're at a bar, just go to the bartender, say, I feel like I've had too much to drink, or if the bartender notices you've had too much to drink and you've drove to the bar, we don't want you to drive home. The bartender can give us a call. We'll come pick you up. We take your keys, hand them back to you when we drop you off at home. You're home safe. Nobody gets hurt.
Excellent. And you've been doing this Diamond Cab for a number of years, and I think Mayor Rhodes, as you had said, the program has gone on before that. Do you feel like people are listening? Even last year, did you have a number of calls?
We did have a number of calls last year, but at pace right now, we're probably going to do 5 to 10 times more calls this year than we did last year. And another thing I want to mention was the fact that we put Giannis and Better Brands, who have been wonderful about this. They've helped us get the word out. They've done all the legwork on this. Just fantastic people over there. They're sponsoring this thing 100%, but they put up a Facebook page, Safe Ride of Myrtle Beach. And they would like to see us get other sponsors to make this thing year-round. Let's make it safe in Myrtle Beach. There's no excuse for you to drive drunk. I mean, it defies logic.
Right.
You can save your life, other people's lives. All you got to do is call that number, and we'll come get you. And it's 100% free, 100%. Somebody else is footing the bill.
It's a hard debate to argue.
I mean, I don't
sure.
know how you don't call. I mean,
and it's more than just Myrtle Beach, right? It's North Myrtle Beach, essentially, the Grand Strand.
The whole Grand Strand. We're covering the whole Grand Strand. And like I say, it's something we would like to continue after February 7th. Right. We'd like to have it year-round. Why not get to the point to where we can stop anybody from getting killed on the highways on the Grand Strand? This is my home. This is where I grew up. I do not want to see people get killed for such stupidity.
Yep, and there's the number at the bottom of your screen, 448-8888. Put that number in your phone, and also, again, we're teaming up with Better Brands for the Click It to Cab It promotion. It's as simple as going to your phone, downloading the WMBF News application. Once you go there, click on the Sports tab. The Sports tab right at the top, you'll see Click It to Cab It. There are all the numbers that you need to call throughout the Grand Strand for the cab companies. That single call could save a life. And Vicki Miller, I know we've talked to you and your husband Bill, killed by a drunk driver back in November 16th of 1998. You can't echo anymore the importance of taking advantage of this service.
No, I can't. And again, I want to thank you so much and your company for doing this. You don't know how many lives you're potentially saving.
We're really glad to do it, really.
I just appreciate it beyond words.
And Mike, let me ask Charlie a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Interrupt real quick. Charlie, do y'all have a sponsorship package set up as to what the sponsorships cost, so that people would know what, let's say that they want to be a part of it, and maybe you've got some kind of flyer that you put out that a business card size ad, they would pay $1,000 to be a part sponsor, or whatever. I mean, this is a package that you need to work on, not just you, but I'm talking about all of us work on putting something together where it would help you support this program on 12 months out of the year. And as I said, it's just not the two beer companies, Better Brands and Giannis Corporation, which are just tremendous, tremendous people that help us out and help Charlie out. But there are other companies that sell alcohol-related beverages that need to be involved. They are just as responsible as anybody. So get off the other end and let's do something about it. Let's be a participant. If you can't be a participant, then we need to know who doesn't want to participate.
Right. And you raise a good point, Mayor, that it's more than these two distributors. There are a lot of companies, a lot of alcohol served in the Grand Strand. As we saw in the story that we just did, we consume maybe 6 or 8 times what California consumes for alcohol. Yeah. A lot of that with the 16 million tourists that come in, but even more so, why there needs to be a program that will sponsor a free ride home if someone's too impaired.
How about the liquor stores?
Yeah.
Every place with a red dot should be involved in your program and helping support it.
I honestly believe there are a lot of parents out here that are so concerned about their kids because DUI or impaired driving is the #1 killer of kids under 25, and I include up to 25 because they can still be kids in their minds, would love to contribute to something that's going to protect their children when they're not with them.
Absolutely.
When they don't know where they are or what they're doing.
Critical. Vicki, thank you so much for your appearance today. We hope that your message can help save a life. Thank you so much. Mayor Rhodes, thanks for your time as well. And Charlie, thanks for your effort. It's a great effort. We hope that we are helping you enjoy the holiday season by saving a life. There's the number, 448-8888. Call that number or go to WMBFnews.com's mobile site for the Click It to Cabot information, where we've linked you up with all those cabs. There's the link you'll see on our mobile site by downloading our application at WMBF News. Stay safe this holiday season.